much of the last 30 minutes, the last hour, getting into rolling blackouts all over the country. Hospitals, police stations without power in Dallas-Fort Worth area yesterday and today. They're complaining, saying, why has our power been turned off to conserve energy and supply it to 5 other surrounding states? We're the biggest energy producer in the country here in Texas, per capita for land space in the world. Why is this happening? Why is Obama blocking new power plants, at least 3 of them in Texas, including one they've almost completed in Corpus Christi at over $3 billion facility? Why have they allowed Mexico to build all these power plants with U.S. and globalist companies, and then now they're supplying Texas? It's all part of a plan to shut down our industries. And it's a stated plan by the globalists for a post-industrial world. That's what China is all about. That's what the tariffs against our goods are about. That's what their low currency is about, is making it where we can't compete. And then globalist insiders who have sweetheart deals with the communist Chinese, the Mexicans, and others, they get to set up power plants and things and factories that no one can compete with. And then the very same corporate interests lobby our government and other Western governments to put in laws shutting down their competition. And again, it's just like Obama giving out hundreds and hundreds, I know it's over 500 waivers and counting, to McDonald's and others to not make them buy health insurance for their employees, but everybody else has to. And don't forget, Obama put out an order, not a law. He doesn't have a law to be doing all this, to be shutting down Texas power plants and not letting them build new ones and restricting the output of other power plants or putting federal taxes on them. That's what the Kyoto Protocol does. He's just doing it. But here's the headline. Obama issues global warming rules in January, gives General Electric, who the head of his economic councils, the former head of GE, an exemption. They get an exemption from the new regulations, not laws, because they are, of course, the biggest builder and operator of these power plants. It's about shutting down their competition. And I will bring you back to 2005. We saw all this coming and wrote about it. Their complete plan. The myth of peak oil, Paul Joseph Watson's, Alex Jones, October 12, 2005, prisonplanet.com, Infowars.com. And we talked about how carbon taxes are meant to selectively shut down power plant companies, coal companies that aren't insiders, how China is building multiple power plants a week at the time. Now it's upwards of 5 a week. But we're not allowed to have even 3 new ones a year. How then they have cheaper powers. They can produce cheaper goods on top of their slave wages. More regulations get piled on here. Then they lie and say our power plants are dirty when they're amongst the cleanest in the world. They put them through these, quote, scrubbers that take everything out but carbon dioxide and water. That's why Obama is saying carbon dioxide is poisonous and wants to tax it. This is huge. This is siege. This is deindustrialization. This is the post-industrial world. But in this report we wrote, we linked through to the Associated Press and Raw Story, who got the documents, and they're up on our website. Group, internal memos show oil companies limited refineries to drive up prices. Donald Trump was right earlier this week on Newsmax, saying we're awash in oil. There's tankers lined up worldwide wanting to offload it. There's not enough refineries. There's not enough infrastructure. This has been done by design. We know in 1995, 16 years ago, and in 1996, 15 years ago, and it was all covered by the AP, and then we pointed it out in 2005. They sued and got the documents. They said, we got too much oil. We got to lobby the environmentalists to shut down smaller companies. We've got to go buy up other refineries and shut them off to create a bottleneck. And the same mega big oil, mega big energy is going after all the smaller oil and coal companies and smaller power plants. The feds came into Austin with money a decade ago or 9 years ago and bought up the city-owned power plant that could supply most of the city by itself and just shut it off. They're shutting them down, the old plants. They're blocking new plants that have been built, bankrupting companies. Then later GE comes in and buys them for pennies on the dollar, and then they get the waiver to turn them on. And so there you have it. It's the same thing. What do you think's happening with Mexico right now? They're the only ones on the Texas region to be able to build all these new plants that don't have the regulations on them, and then now they are supplying Texas. That's in the AFP and Associated Press today. Let me run through some of these headlines. Mammoth storms leave bitter cold destruction. Blackouts anger Dallas hospitals. Why aren't they getting power? Why aren't police stations getting power? But the big Superdome they've built for the Dallas Cowboys, where they're going to have the Super Bowl with the Steelers up there. Why was Cowboy Stadium exempt from blackouts? CBS News. EPA to take over Texas air permitting for major refineries and power plants. Obama EPA blocks South Dakota coal power plant. Governor Sebelius banned new coal power plants in Kansas. Georgia judge blocks coal plant on global warming grounds. They're shutting down existing ones, buying up existing ones, and shutting them off to create artificial scarcity to drive up the price of per kilowatt hour power that can then only be owned by selective insider globalist companies. This is mafia government. This is so criminal, it makes my head spin to have this type of garbage going. And then I have the headline that Mexico is now supplying the energy to much of Texas because we're supplying it to other states. They're shutting down our industry. They're shutting down everything. Mexico supplies electricity to Wintery, Texas. Mexico State Electricity Company on Wednesday started supplying electricity to the United States and to Texas, where demand shot up amid unusually cold temperatures and caused power outages. Mexico's Federal Electricity Commission was determined to support Texas with electrical energy faced with problems that the state is suffering due to climatological conditions, a statement said. Okay, now, there's the real scoop. There's what's going on. What do we do about this? Guys, I meant to tell you earlier, will you pull me up the Congress switchboard number and also Rick Perry's number? We also need to pressure the Attorney General of Texas, who has been countersuing the feds, I got to say valiantly, and say it's time for injunctions. It's time to put the state guard in front of these power plants and not let the feds cut down output as they've been doing. It's time to say no, 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 and call them and put pressure on them. We got forced inoculation suspended in Texas, and they admitted it was the 5,000 phone calls this show generated. We got the funding for the race war film Machete pulled, so they didn't get state incentives. Our listeners did. We can get things moving on this, and you can get things moving, but I want a key search term today. I want to do it, and I want it to be the #1 search term on Google today. This is so absolutely important. And I printed the article, and I had it right here in front of me. But I've been so busy ranting that I can't find it. Here it is. Here it is. This is the prisonplanet.com headline version. Because Google tries to block us a lot. We'll give key articles, one headline on InfoWars, another on prisonplanet.com. Obama agenda to bankrupt power plants triggers blackouts. And we have the video of him saying it. We have it all on record, their whole plan, the insider deals to shut down their competition. This is such an important, condensed piece of information. Obama agenda to bankrupt power plants triggers blackouts. Let's go with the search term, Obama triggers blackouts.
He has left me with the strength and wisdom. A with my concern. I will occupy my Father's house. Yeah, I will occupy my Father's house. I will till I see His face. I will occupy my Father's house. I will guard these walls and fences till He comes to take His place. I will occupy my Father's house.
Like a thief in the night, I saw the Father enter. Chase all the parasite from around ya. Thief, liar, and evil murderer. Chase them out the house because them cannot enter. Pure in heart and clean hands only. Only them could enter in God's house, you see. Save your soul, surrender quickly. That's what we are doing now, we have the house, you see.
I will occupy my Father's house. I won't allow the wicked. I will occupy my Father's house. To come and keep me sleeping, steal the truth. I will my soul along with it. I will occupy my Father's house. There are those in this world who would harm us. They will not prevail. I will occupy my Father's house. 'Cause when I occupy my Father's house, there's more wind into His sail. I will occupy my Father's house.
Love alone we deal with and I deal with properly. My father don't want no murderer around me. Thou shalt not kill man, him don't tell we. Occupy